The fact is that the more you show your life to others, the more they will find ways to pull you down. It's not always out of hate. Sometimes it's envy. Sometimes it's insecurity, but most of the time it's just human nature. When people can see you, they feel entitled to judge you. When they can measure you, they start to compare. And when they can access you too easily, they stop respecting you. There is a strange power in disappearing. Not running away, but stepping back silently, intentionally. Choosing to work in the dark without validation, without applause. That's where real transformation begins. Because when no one's watching, you start living for yourself again. You stop performing. You stop chasing reactions. And in that quiet space, away from noise, opinions, and attention, you meet the raw version of you, the tired one, the hopeful one, the one who still dreams of becoming more. Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote, "The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly." When you rise above, people will misunderstand you. They'll call your silence arrogance, your focus selfishness, your distance cold. But they simply can't see the altitude you're reaching. There's something thrilling about disappearing with purpose, about walking away from the spotlight, not because you failed, but because you're preparing for your next evolution. It's exciting. It's almost sacred, because you know that when you return, your transformation will shake the world. But here's the twist. By the time you reappear, you won't care about shocking anyone anymore. Because in the dark, you'll have learned the truth. The only opinion that matters is your own. So today, let's talk about the art of disappearing and how to do it right. How to walk away not in defeat, but in power. How to vanish from the noise, rebuild yourself quietly, and re-emerge untouchable. The hidden power of disappearing. The world today rewards noise. The louder you are, the more people notice. The more you post, the more you exist. That's the illusion we all grew up inside, that visibility equals value. But the truth, the more you show your life, the more people will find ways to pull you down. Not because they hate you, but because they can see you. And whatever they can see, they can measure, compare, and criticize. There's a strange safety in being unseen, a rare power in being underestimated. When you disappear, you stop performing. You stop feeding the endless hunger for validation. And slowly, you begin to return to yourself. Nietzsche once said, "He who fights with monsters should be careful lest he thereby become a monster." And if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you. When you live under the gaze of others for too long, you become what they expect you to be. You start performing your identity, not living it. You become an actor in your own life. That's why disappearing isn't running away. It's a rebellion. It's reclaiming your time, your focus, your energy from a world addicted to noise. Because silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. You're not escaping the battlefield, you're training underground. You're becoming dangerous quietly. Guard your fire. Every word steals its heat. Every idea begins like a small flame. But every time you talk about it too soon, you expose it to the wind. Every explanation, every attempt to prove yourself steals a little of that heat. People think power is in expression, but often it's in restraint. The less you speak, the more your energy stays contained. And when energy is contained, it transforms into focus, and focus becomes creation. Nietzsche once wrote, "All great thoughts are conceived while walking in solitude." That solitude isn't just physical, it's internal. It's the choice to guard your inner fire from noise, opinions, and validation. Because every time you broadcast your intentions, you trade transformation for applause. Stay quiet. Guard the fire. Let it burn long enough to become something real. Disappear to regain focus. You don't disappear because you're weak. You disappear because you're tired of living for others. You stop answering every call. You stop scrolling through every highlight reel. You stop reacting to every piece of noise demanding your attention. When you disappear, something miraculous happens. Your attention, the most sacred currency of your mind, returns home. You begin to see what truly matters. The noise fades, and what remains is your voice, small at first, hesitant but real. Nietzsche said, "Become who you are." Simple words, but in a world that constantly tells you who to be, that's an act of war. You can't become who you are if you're constantly performing for others. Disappearing isn't about being unseen, it's about seeing yourself clearly. It's stepping into solitude not as punishment, but as purification. Because when you step back from the noise, you meet your raw self, the version that doesn't need applause to feel alive, the courage to be alone. Let's be honest, disappearing takes courage. It means walking into solitude when the crowd screams for attention. It means letting go of the fear of missing out and embracing the deeper fear of wasting your life by never discovering who you truly are. When you disappear, you meet the parts of yourself you've avoided. The lazy one, the angry one, the insecure one, the one who hides behind distractions and excuses. That's the real reason people fear silence, because silence exposes them. There's nowhere to hide when you're alone with yourself. But that's exactly where transformation begins. Silence feels like death at first. When you stop distracting yourself, you hear the chaos inside. Nietzsche understood this chaos deeply. He wrote, "One must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star." That chaos, your confusion, your loneliness, your pain, is not your enemy. It's raw material for creation. It's where transformation begins. When you disappear, you strip away the noise. And in that quiet, you finally hear your own heartbeat. That's not loneliness. That's rebirth. But here's what no one tells you about rebirth. Before you rise, you'll feel forgotten. There comes a moment deep into your disappearance when you realize no one's checking in anymore. The calls stop. The messages fade. The world keeps spinning without you. At first, it hurts because you thought you mattered. You believed your absence would echo, that someone would notice the silence. But life moves on, and that's when the ego breaks. Yet in that breaking, something sacred happens. You begin to understand you were never meant to matter to everyone. You only need to matter to yourself. Nietzsche once said, "Invisible threads are the strongest ties." The world may forget your presence, but the bond between you and your purpose grows stronger in the quiet. When no one remembers you, you're free to redefine who you are, free to build without eyes watching, free to rise without the weight of expectation. Being forgotten isn't death, it's resurrection. It's the clearing of old noise so your real voice can echo, rebuilding in the dark. When you disappear, don't just rest, rebuild. The world will tell you that silence is enough, but silence without direction only leads back to the same noise you escaped from. Use your solitude as a forge. Turn every wound into wisdom, every doubt into discipline, every silence into strength. This is where you shape your vision, not a vague dream, but a clear direction. Ask yourself, what kind of life do I truly want to create? What would it demand of me in effort, in patience, in sacrifice? Once you see it clearly, protect it like sacred fire. Do not announce it. Do not explain it. Every time you share your vision too soon, you let others pour cold water on your flame. People don't destroy your dreams out of cruelty, they destroy them out of fear. Their limits will try to become yours. So guard your vision. Let it grow unseen like roots beneath the soil. Then act quietly, consistently, relentlessly. Not to prove anything, but to align with the person you're becoming. Each small action is a brick in the cathedral of your future self. No one needs to see the construction, they'll see the masterpiece when it's done. And yes, it will hurt. You will doubt yourself. You will face nights where you question if any of this is worth it. But that pain is not punishment, it's initiation. It's the price of evolution. Nietzsche once said, "What does not kill me makes me stronger." Strength is not built in comfort, it's forged in resistance. That's how transformation happens, not in light but in heat, not in applause but in agony. And when the pain finally settles, what remains is not the same person who began, but someone new, someone dangerous, someone real. The world loves noise because noise reveals intention. But those who move in silence control the rhythm of their own evolution. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your growth. You don't need to announce every victory or justify every decision. True mastery is invisible. When you stop performing progress, progress becomes real. Every small step builds momentum, not for applause but for alignment. The most dangerous people are not the loudest. They are the ones who act in silence, whose confidence doesn't need an audience. Growth doesn't announce itself. It shows up in small, invisible shifts, in how you speak to yourself, how you handle chaos, how you stay grounded when others panic. You begin to notice that you no longer crave validation. You no longer measure your worth in reactions. You become unshakable not because life gets easier, but because you've built strength where no one was watching. The pain that once broke you has become your armor. The doubts that haunted you have turned into discipline. You are outgrowing the version of you that was built to please, to perform, to be seen. Now, you are becoming someone forged by solitude and shaped by purpose. When you disappear, something powerful happens. You become unreadable. No one knows what you're thinking, what you're planning, or what drives you. They can no longer predict your next move, and because they can't predict you, they can't control you. Mystery becomes your armor. Silence becomes your advantage. When others waste energy trying to analyze you, you're already 3 steps ahead, moving in silence, building in peace. That's when true power returns to your hands. Not the power to dominate others, but the power to remain unmoved by them. The people who underestimated you will sense the change but won't understand it. They'll say you've changed, and they'll be right. They'll try to pull you back into the person they remember, but that person doesn't exist anymore. You've burned him to build something new. Every rebirth begins with an ending. The ending of who you were, of what you believed, of the people who once defined you. It's a brutal process, the in-between where nothing feels certain and everything feels empty. That emptiness is not failure, it's the beginning of transformation. In those moments when you feel most alone, remind yourself, you're not being abandoned, you're being prepared. Nietzsche once said, "The tree that would grow to heaven must send its roots to hell." Before you rise, you must descend deep into yourself. That descent feels lonely, but that is where you grow. When you disappear, you're not just rebuilding yourself, you're rewriting the rules of the game. And this is where dark psychology comes into play, not as a weapon to harm others, but as a shield to protect your sacred growth. Become an unsolvable equation. Human beings are hardwired to fear ambiguity. Their brains are decoding machines, constantly trying to predict, categorize, and control. When you constantly broadcast your life, you give them all the data they need to do just that. You become predictable, easy to catalog, and therefore easy to indirectly control. But when you disappear, you become an unknown variable. You break their pattern. Your silence becomes a screen onto which people project their own fears, curiosities, and assumptions. They wonder, what is he doing? What is he planning? Has he become better than me? In the void you leave, their insecurity will bloom. And here is the crucial truth. While they are busy decoding your ghost, you are free to forge your substance. You don't need to state how powerful you are. You let their imagination do the work for you. When you are everywhere, others control the frame around you. A comment, a look, a piece of gossip, it all shapes how the world perceives you. But when you retreat, you seize control of that frame. You become the sole definer of your own worth. Consider this, an item on constant display becomes common. But a rare piece of art shown only on special occasions carries an aura of immense value. Scarcity creates value. Your silence makes your presence valuable. People begin to prize your time and energy more because you have made them scarce. This isn't game playing. This is repositioning. You are training the world how to treat you, not with your words, but with your deliberate absence. When you become an enigma, people will start to project onto you. The insecure will assume your silence is arrogance. The hypocrite will label it deceit. The ambitious will fear you are pulling ahead. Let them. This is a strategic advantage. Their reaction to your silence is a mirror reflecting their own insecurities and hidden motives. It reveals who is envious, who is skeptical, and who truly respects your journey. You gather invaluable data on everyone around you without revealing a single card of your own. You listen, you observe, and you know exactly who deserves a seat at your table when you return. In the shadows, you are not powerless. You are in the most powerful position, that of the observer. You see the patterns, the power games, and the truth behind the social lies you once participated in. You see clearly who is truly strong, who is just loud, and what systems are actually running the show. As an ancient strategist once said, in the midst of chaos, there is also opportunity in stillness. When you stop reacting, you start seeing. And when you see, you can act with precision instead of reacting with chaos. You are no longer a pawn on the board. You are the player watching from the outside. Your deliberate disappearance is not a retreat. It is a strategic strike against society's dependency on noise and validation. It is using the very thing most people fear, ambiguity, to become your own fortress. You are playing a long-term psychological game where the prize is not temporary attention, but long-term invincibility. When you return, you don't announce it. There's a stillness in your steps, a certainty, a calm in your silence. You no longer need to prove anything. Your presence is the proof, because when you've built yourself in the dark, you carry the weight of that transformation in every word, every look, every breath. People feel it before they understand it. They can't define it, but they can't ignore it either. You've become the kind of person whose energy speaks louder than explanation. That's quiet power. It doesn't beg to be seen, it commands attention by existing. The ones who once doubted you will sense something different. They'll call it luck, timing, or fate, but you'll know it's none of those things. It's discipline, it's solitude, it's the invisible work no one saw. You don't seek applause anymore, you seek alignment. You don't chase success, you embody it. You don't demand respect, you become it. That's what returning in quiet power looks like. No anger, no revenge, no explanation, just gravity. When you disappear, something unexpected happens. People start to notice the silence. They feel the gap where your energy used to fill the room. They replay the conversations you used to start. They wonder why the person who was always available has become unreachable. The world always wants what it can't easily access. When you set boundaries, people start to value your time. When you stop over-explaining, your words begin to carry weight. When you pull back your energy, people lean forward to feel it. The true reward of disappearing isn't attention when you return. It's the calm that comes when you no longer need it. It's realizing that solitude is not loneliness, it's sovereignty. Because when you can stand alone, no one can control you. When you can be silent, no one can manipulate you. When you can disappear, no one can define you. And then something beautiful happens. Your life begins to transform beyond anything you ever expected. You'll keep fighting, not out of desperation, but out of purpose. You'll keep reaching for goals that are higher, sharper, more aligned with who you truly are. And through it all, you'll remain a mystery to most people. They won't understand how you became so calm, so unshakable. But you'll know. You found peace not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. You found joy not in applause, but in evolution. And in that quiet, you discovered a life far richer than the one you left behind. Because disappearing didn't end your story, it rewrote it. So if you're ready to unlock another cheat code of life, one that will take your mind even deeper, watch the next video right here. And if this message spoke to you, take a moment to like, subscribe, and join this journey of silent transformation. Because this isn't just a channel, it's a movement. A rebellion against the noise. Disappear. Rebuild. Return not louder but clearer.